Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaite Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, somebody can revise this.
So this is Hare Krishna Prabhuji. This is yoga ladder. So first we see that a person generally starts because of his mentality for sense gratification. He always sees his profit or loss. So for that, with that mentality, generally he acts on the platform of like karma kanda. What is there in it for me? So while doing so, there is an opportunity in Vedic culture when he follows even that with some regulations, then he gets an opportunity to understand that like there is work and there is fruits. So if he's like get detached from fruits,
So
and
how does purification take place?
purification takes place by two things you told. Like first thing that while observing things, he follows at least little bit shastras, which means Lord's words. Second thing, while doing so, he is prescribed to chant hymns and holy name, Lord's name. So by this, he gets chance and gets purified.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Somebody else can continue.
When he understands all these things are temporary, then he think about something permanent. Then he started doing karma yoga. So he
For what?
start s- for his for heavenly pleasure. No.
Karma yoga.
He started sacrificing something.
What is his purpose? Goal.
Moksha. And in due course of time, his purifications happen.
Yes, the purification takes place by
sacrificing the result.
yes, by sacrificing detached work. Yes,
Detached work.
detached work. That is how he gets purified. And then
If he sacrifice.
somebody else.
In that way, when he does that, he gets purified by the renunciation of work, and as far as then
Renunciation of what?
renunciation of his fruits. Sorry, renunciation of his fruits, and then after some sort of purification, then he understands more in terms of is understanding in terms of evolution of this. He's not this body, his soul increases more, and then he
why it increases?
Because of the purification, and then
what is this?
This lotus thing.
What happened to the lotus?
Gyan is inbuilt inside the detached work.
Yes, Gyan is inbuilt within detached work. So then what happens?
Once one does detached work, he slowly his knowledge develops and he comes to the platform.
What knowledge?
Of that he is not this body, he is spirit soul.
Yeah, that is Sattvic Gyan.
Sattvic Gyan. So when that knowledge develops, he slowly comes to the platform of Jnana Yoga. So in Jnana Yoga, he is like Jnana Yoga also has many varieties. Some are considered to be the worshippers of impersonal Brahman. And if a Jnani is advanced enough, he'll come to the understanding of Paramatma realization. And at any point of time in the ladder, if one comes in the association of devotees of the Lord, they can directly go to the platform of Bhakti Yoga.
Okay, good. So what is the main difference between Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga?
Bhakti Yoga, he is neither attached to fruits nor to the results. But in Karma Yoga, he is detached from work but attached to the fruits. Sorry. Detached to the. Detached to the.
ठीक है. Okay, so then, so what is the flow of the verses here in the Bhagavad Gita? From the 39th verse, what is the flow of verses? Somebody else? Pratik?
Speaks Buddhio, which also devotional service.
So first of all, 31 to 38, he speaks Karma Kand. And then from 39?
He speaks Buddhi Yoga, and then in the verse 40, 41, Krishna speaks Bhakti Yoga specifically. 40, 41, in that one.
So we said Buddhi Yoga has two meanings.
Yeah.
What?
One is devotional service, and other is
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga. Yeah,
Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga.
Bhakti
Two
Yoga.
meanings of Buddhi Yoga. And then?
And then from verses 2.42 to 53, Krishna minimizes the Karma Kanda. By getting that from the...
Right. So that's essentially what we were discussing. Krishna is saying, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. So give up this Karma Kanda, Gyan Kanda, all that. And then in verse number 46, he's giving an analogy. What is the analogy? Okay.
Because just before that verse, he speaks about Bhakti Yoga in specific. Then he gives the analogy that by just serving the Supreme Lord, like by just having one flowing river, it solves the purpose of all different types of wells.
So what is the analogy? Different types of wells are compared to what?
Different occurs to different types of yoga ladders. Different any.
There's only one yoga ladder.
Any of that levels.
More specifically, Karma Kand, Jnana Kand, Upasana Kand, so all these various as parts of the Vedas and the processes. So if one has, so what is the water body, the big water body compared to?
Is serving the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, serving the Supreme Lord. So if one comes to the platform of Bhakti Yoga, serving the Supreme Lord, then it's understood that one has already done the other things, right? So therefore, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is quoting this famous verse. Aho bata shvapachoto gariyan yajjivva grivartata namatobhyam te pustapaste juvu sasnurarya brahmanuchu namagrinanti yete. O my Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, although born of a low family like that of Chandala, dog-eater situated on the highest platform of self-realization, such a person must have performed all kinds of penances, sacrifices according to the Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literature many, many times after taking his bath in all the holy place of pilgrimage. Such a person is considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So what is the example we told? Prabhupada's example? Prabhupada's example. One who's practicing devotional service has already done everything, huh? Right. So similarly, one who has come to the platform of Bhakti Yoga, it's understood he's practiced all types of austerities, penances, study of Vedas, everything finished. Okay, so this is the topmost platform. So whatever is lower is understood to be finished. So Prabhupada's another example is, so if one is a billionaire, then automatically all the lower currencies are included within that. So similarly, one who's come to the platform of Bhakti is understood as performed all these others. Okay, so now Krishna is specifically coming to the description of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Now he's specifically going to talk about, so till now he is encouraging Arjuna to give up Karma Kand and raise his consciousness to the higher levels, yoga. So now he's coming to the proper definition of Nishkam Karma Yoga. So famous verse, 47th verse. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbur ma te sangastva karmani. You have a right to perform a prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. Purport.
purport. There are three considerations here: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. Prescribed duties are activities enjoined in the terms of one's acquired modes of material nature. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. The Lord advised that Arjuna not be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the results. One who is attached to the results of his work is also the cause of the action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the result of such actions. As far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be filtered into three subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the spiritual intentions without desires for results is action in mode of goodness. Work with results becomes the cause of bondage. Therefore, such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the results. Such disinterested, obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non participation in the battle is another side of the attachment. Such attachment never leads one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna.
Yes. So here, Krishna is giving a specific instruction, you can say, to Arjuna. Karmani evadikaraste. So your only adhikar is, your only qualification is, your only right is to perform karma. Karma means prescribed duties according to Varnashram. So you only have a right to perform your prescribed duties. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Duty you perform. Fruits? No fruits for you. Never. Kadachana. Never. Fruits are not meant for you. Ma phaleshu. Then, see, usually why one is attached to the fruits? Sense enjoyment is one thing. That's true. Because he thinks, अरे I've done so much hard work. इतना मेहनत किया मैंने, फिर फल किसके लिए? अरे क्यों थोड़ी किसी और को दूंगा? I put so much endeavor, I worked hard. The sweat of my brow. So, with so much of endeavor, I worked so hard, so many years. पूरा business खड़ा कर दिया. And now profit? For whom? For whom it should be? For me, obviously. So therefore, Krishna says, Ma karma phala hetu. Ma means not. Don't think yourself to be the hetu of the karma phal, the cause of the karma phal. Because if one thinks I am the cause of the karma phal, the next result is one is attached to the karma phal. But Krishna says, don't think yourself to be the cause of the karma phal. So somebody may say, why not? Why not? I have worked hard. I have got the phal, I got the fruits. So why I should not think myself the cause? What will you say? Bolo?
Because if someone will think that he is the cause, then he has to take the reaction also.
That is another point. Why should I not think myself to be the cause of the result? Kuch example batao. Why should I not consider myself to be the cause of the results? Suresh, no? Suraj. Ajay. Who's Suraj? Yeah, Suraj. Okay.
Prabhuji. So, like whenever like in studies, like we study and then we think that we have brought good marks, but we don't know that money was given by father and then teacher taught us. So there are many in many persons involved in getting the result.
See, you're talking about different things. You're talking about money, you're talking about marks, you're talking about different things. Talk about one thing. Okay, you're a student. So you talk about marks. So why you got good marks in the exam?
I studied, but there were
You
many-
studied.
I
That is the
studied,
point.
But
But
it also depends on teachers. If he doesn't give, then how will I get the marks?
don't bring other people now. You talk about yourself only.
Yes, I studied.
You studied,
Yes.
and therefore you got the marks, correct?
No, I got the marks, but many people are responsible for that.
Okay, fine. Okay. Bolo.
One way of looking at it, like what I heard from devotees, that even in our body there are so many non-voluntary voluntary activities within body, like digestion, blinking of eyes, beating of hearts. Then those are not in my control. It is happening automatically. Similarly,
let us
whatever I read and
Hmm.
whatever I remembered, that I did not desire that I will be able to remember. It came.
You
and
desire to remember, na?
remembrance came while reading that question, which means it was not in my control, because certain question I could not solve. So that's why I am not the doer. If I was doer, I would have done 100%, but that is not the case most of the time.
Yes, that's good. So I may have studied, but what happens in the exam? I may have studied everything, but what happens in the exam? I don't remember everything. सब याद होता है एग्जाम में? नहीं. So who's giving that remembrance? Who's giving the remembrance? Matta smritir jnanam. So therefore, I may put my endeavor, but result is not in my hand. Some other example? Sudhanshu.
We give example of a farmer. He may till the land, he may put the seeds also. But if the rain comes properly, then only the yield will be proper. If rain
Correct.
does not
That's
come,
also another good example. What's another example Prabhupada often give?
Another example, we give the interview, the panel chuchas.
Okay,
Everything
that's
not
also
in
okay.
our hand.
Okay, that's also correct. Prabhupada's well-known example is everyone is working hard to become Tata Birla. Does everyone become? Everyone is working hard, correct? Everyone is running here, there. For what? For what? किसके लिए? Paisa. Correct? Everyone is running for paisa. Does everyone get? No. Everyone is working so hard. Morning to night, everyone is working. Why everyone doesn't become rich? So that means that I am not in control of the karma phal. I can work hard. Karma phal is not in my hands. I heard that there's this Ambani. There are these two brothers, correct? Ambani brothers. One is the billionaire, Mukesh Ambani, and the other brother is? He is nothing. They're from the same family. Still, you see? So who's controlling? If I think I'll work hard, I'll make the money, I'll get everything, but you see so much of difference. So that means I am not in control of the karma phal. I am not the hetu. Therefore, Krishna says, don't think yourself the hetu. You are not the hetu for the karma phal. Ma karma phala hetu. So then somebody may say, ये सब झंझट है. कर्म करो, फिर कर्म फल त्याग दो. कर्म भी छोड़ दो, कर्म फल भी छोड़ दो. That's easy, correct? Why bother about all this headache, na? You do the karma, then you get the karma fal, then you are told don't be attached to that. Sab chhod do. Easy work. Just relax. So then Krishna says, no, mate sangosto karmani. See, there are three no's. Ma. Three no's are there. Only see the proportion. Only one entitlement, three no's. That's unfair, no? Ah. वो भगवान के साथ थोड़ा बार्गेनिंग करो ना. So therefore, last Krishna says, Mate Sango Astvak. Here, akarmani means not being attached, not performing one's duty. Here, akarma means not performing one's duty. Akarma has different meanings. So one must see in the context. In this context, akarma means not performing one's prescribed duty. So Krishna is saying, don't be attached to not performing your prescribed duties. Never be attached to not doing your duty. So Krishna has really trapped the person now. So he's saying you cannot give up the duty. You have to do your duty, but at the same time, you cannot be attached to the fruits. Are bichara. He has to work. At the same time, he cannot be attached to the fruits. And so Prabhupada says, not performing one's prescribed duty is what? Sinful. If one doesn't perform prescribed duties, that is sinful. Previous verse also Krishna said. Yes, inaction is sinful. Not performing one's prescribed duty. So in this way, Krishna is telling this is Nishkam Karma Yoga. You only have a right to perform your prescribed duty. You are not entitled to the fruits of that. This is Nishkam Karma Yoga. So, right. So that's why Prabhupada is saying his non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. So this is another side of attachment is akarma. So one attachment is what? If I get the fruits, I'll work hard. One is attached to the fruits. If I get the fruits, I'll work hard. What's the other side of attachment? No fruits, no work. That's the other side of attachment. It's still attachment only. It's still based on the false ego that I am the doer. If I get the fruits, I will do. If I get a good score in book distribution, I'll go out for book distribution. If nobody is taking the books, forget it. No more book distribution. This is what happens. So therefore, Prabhupada makes another important point. Where is that? Where is that? Yes. Work with results becomes the cause of bondage. Work with results becomes the cause of bondage. And before that, Prabhupada has written, routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunctions without desire for results is action in the mode of goodness. So at this point we discussed before also. So when one performs one's duty without attachment to the fruits, that is in the mode of goodness. So in the mode of goodness, one is only attached to duty. That's all. This is my duty, I will do it. Whether results come, not come, I'll do my best, that's all. That is at least in the mode of goodness. But if one is always calculating about fruits, then what is it? What is it? Passion. Rajogun. In Rajogun, one is always concentrating on the fruits. What will be the fruits? And there's excessive attachment to the fruits. That means if the fruits don't come, what the person will do? Yes, he'll stop the duty itself. And of course, these points we'll be discussing in the further chapters also. But that's the important point. And when one is attached to the fruits, what is the result of that? What is the result of that? Bondage. That is the cause of bondage. So the more one is attached to the fruits, one is bound to the material world. ठीक है, फल चाहिए, यहीं रहो, फल भोगते रहो. That's what happens. So then somebody may say, oh, we see Srila Prabhupada, he also wanted book distribution scores, all that. He wanted so many temples to be opened. So Prabhupada was also attached to fruits, correct? Huh? No? Why not? Huh? Correct. Whose enjoyment? Yes. So the attachment to the fruits may be there, but the important question is, for whom? For whom? And what is the response if the fruits don't come? So we read right in the preface, last sentence of the preface, what Prabhupada wrote? Praveen Prabhu?
If one person will become a pure devotee, then his mission is successful.
Yes. So that is Prabhupada's expectation of fruits. One pure devotee, success. That was Prabhupada's fruity mentality. How many of us would be ready if you are told in your preaching, if one person becomes devotee, be satisfied? This class is meant for everyone. Bhagavad Gita is meant for everyone. अभी सबका वही हाल है ना, इसलिए भगवत गीता है. जो भी भौतिक जगत में सबका वही हाल है. So today you are blaming authority, tomorrow you will become authority then. And what will you do? So one can have expectation, not wrong, but then everything has to be, the motive behind that is to be taken into consideration. What's the motive? Then everything will go properly. All right, let's read Prabhupada's lecture on the verse.
Karmani evadhikaraste ma phalesu kadajana. The technique of acting on the spiritual platform is that you have your right to act. You have your right to act according to your position. But karmani evadhikaraste ma phalesu kadajana. But you should not desire to enjoy the fruit of your activity. That is the technique. Then I want to enjoy the fruit of my activity. Then what it will be? Suppose I am a businessman. I have made a profit of $10 million in this year. So do you mean to say that I shall not enjoy this huge amount of money? I shall throw it away? Oh yes. Bhagavad Gita said that. Ma phalesu kadachana. You cannot take the result of your work. You cannot stop your work, neither you can enjoy the activities. Then if I do it, then what it will be? Now he said, Ma karma phala hetur. Don't be cause of your activities. Then you shall be bound up by the effects of your activity. You don't be cause, then effect will not touch you. ma karma phala heturvur, ma te sango sta karmani. Then if you say, better I shall do
Not
not do anything, no, that will not be permitted. Just like our business friend was speaking to me that why shall we work so hard and make huge profit that the whole thing will be taken away by the government tax. But here the Lord says that you cannot stop your work, neither you can enjoy the activities, the fruit of your activities. That is work on spiritual plane.
yes. Okay. So some wait. Now first our question. Discuss ways in which this verse can be misinterpreted or misused and what are the consequences of such misuse. Group. Bana 3 3 divided 3 3. हाँ ठीक है, यहाँ यहाँ 4 लोग हैं ना। हाँ ठीक है, यहाँ 4 लोग, आप 3 लोग। So the whole verse, how can the whole verse be misinterpreted? वामन प्रभु आपको पता Okay, done? Done? Okay, ठीक है. Okay, so everyone tell one point. I will begin from here.
So, Prabhuji, so one will, here it is mentioned that we don't have to, look for the fruits. So one may misinterpret that he may work with passionate and, he may work. But if it is not, he is not getting the fruits, result, then he may say to the authority that I am working very hard. I'm just working, and even though I'm not getting the, I'm not responsible for that. So like that he may say, but authority, so there will not be scope of improvement. He may work hard, but he might not think that how to improve.
Okay, fine. So that means he doesn't take responsibility for his work. So he doesn't take responsibility. He just thinks that okay, anyway, fruits are not for me. So okay, fine, good. Yeah.
Also, one may say that because of his own laziness, he will say that the fruit is not in my hand, so he will be lazy in doing the work.
Okay, fine. So he can become lazy. So because anyway, ठीक है. So suppose somebody is doing book distribution. So anyway, fruit is not in my hand. ठीक है, आराम से बैठो. जो आएगा जिनको लेना है लेने दो. What did Srila Prabhupada say about book distribution? Say that?
Very enthusiastic.
So Prabhupada said, say?
My books are not sold by the enthusiasm of my devotees.
Yes, the books are sold by the enthusiasm of the devotees. Otherwise, not like some booksellers. So the main thing is the enthusiasm. Okay, fine. This? Bolo. Your group?
So many times they misinterpret this verse by taking the first line only. कर्म करो. कर्म करना ही जीवन का उद्देश्य है. Like that. कर्म ही पूजा है. That trucks के पीछे भी लिखा है.
Yes. So I think so. This is there even on Indian Army or something. Somewhere is huh? Swami. श्रम एव केवलम. वो हमारा इंटरप्रिटेशन अलग है उसका. Right. So basically, work is worship, no?
Yes.
Work is worship. So they take only the first part. Just do work.
Yes.
And what about the fruits? For me.
For essence of Bhagavad Gita is to do work only.
Yes. Karma yoga. That is their interpretation of karma yoga.
Someone may tell, just like in book distribution, one may consider why to fix a target. Anyway, result is not our hand. Our main motive is to give endeavor, and so better not fix any result. Whatever will go, that is by Lord's mercy.
Right. No targets, whatever. So what is your refutation of that? So it is correct, na?
Yes.
So it is correct, na? So fruits are not in my hands. So why to keep target? Whatever goes, goes. What's wrong? I don't bolne do na.
No, our motto is to please the Lord also.
That is what Lord only is saying.
So by distributing more, we can please more.
But that is not in my hands.
Then endeavor is in our hand.
So I'll make my endeavor. Why have target?
Earlier, we were discussing the same example for Prabhupada. Earlier, we were discussing about Prabhupada being passionate for book distribution. There are two things. What for is he doing and what is the result if that is not achieved? So he may set a target, and for whose pleasure are you setting the target? And then if that is not achieved, what is your
reaction? Right. So what is the purpose of the target?
Is to please Lord and his devotees.
No, the question is, why can't you please the Lord without putting a target? That is the question.
So the purpose of target is to induce the transcendental competition amongst the devotees, because when this competition is induced, although they might not be that, because we are to some degree we are conditioned, we need that recognition for doing those distribution, and also our enthusiasm is boosted when we see those targets being achieved.
Okay, that's a good point. Yes. So the target gives some, it incites us to work for it. Otherwise, if there's no target, then ठीक है जो जाता है. But when there's a target, then there is some push. There's some push. Oh, I have to achieve this. So at least one tries. Whether one will achieve or not, that's another thing. But at least one will try to achieve some target. And of course, while putting the target, one should definitely put something on the higher scale. So then one endeavors for it. Of course, if one has put sincere endeavors, then that's fine. One may achieve or not achieve. So, yes, any other ways of misinterpretation? Huh? Appreciate. Right. Yes, that also is a misuse. One may not appreciate the endeavors and ठीक है, okay, भगवान ने दिया fruits, भगवान ने दिया फल, स्कोर किसने दिया? भगवान ने दिया. भगवान के लिए announcement हो रहा है, भगवान ने की. So don't announce names, only announce score. Correct? That also could be a misinterpretation. Okay. What else? Not giving credit, yes.
When somebody excels between among us, peers or someone, then generally this philosophy comes like, oh, कृष्ण जिसको बड़ा बनाना चाहते हो बनता है, उसके व्यूअर्स बहुत ज्यादा है, उसके फॉलोअरशिप बहुत ज्यादा है, कर्मा है प्रीवियस लाइफ का उनका, like that. So we use it like,
yes, that is also correct. That's also
one way it is correct.
Yes, that's also correct. But then at the same time, the endeavor also has to be appreciated, because without the endeavor, then nothing is going to happen only. Right? Even if it is there in the karma, if I just sit, what will happen? Nothing is going to happen. So the endeavor also has to be appreciated. Yes. Huh?
Low quality work.
Low quality work, no enthusiasm, laziness.
And
yes.
One more thing. I mean, Prabhupada, the famous line that attention to the details is a sign of law. So we are not taking that whatever the karma, whatever the karma duty given properly. And obviously, we are not showing the love to the Krishna is also. No?
Right. Yes, that's correct. So one will not pay attention to the quality of the work. Anyway, results are not in our hands. So then it will lead to irresponsibility, laziness, all that. Yes. Okay, fine. So now in the next verse, I was just thinking why there are why 7 devotees are missing today. Huh?
3 devotees are now, because Jyudaya is having this final submission dates. So 3 devotees are completely engaged in that seva.
Oh, Acha Sadhu.
Sadhu Sangh Chaitanya Prabhu, Santosh Prabhu, and Ujjwal Nilmani Prabhu.
Acha, they're all
And
there.
4 devotees are online.
4 devotees are online. ठीक है. Okay. So now in the next verse.
Question.
What's the question?
Here Prabhupada explains prescribed duties are divided into 3 categories.
Okay, that's one thing we didn't discuss. Okay. Prescribed duties, capricious work, inaction. You know this, no? Karma, vikarma, akarma. You have heard this, no?
Yes.
What is karma?
Prescribed.
According to Shastra. Prescribed duties according to Shastra, that's called karma. Vikarma? Yes, against the injunctions of the Shastra. Akarma?
Devotional activity.
Actions that don't produce reaction. Actions that don't produce reaction, that's called akarma. So that's those three things Prabhupada is defining here. So Prescribed duties, activities enjoined in terms of one's acquired modes of material nature. That's one ashram duties. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority. And inaction means not performing one's not performing one's prescribed duty. There's another meaning of akarma. So akarma is both these meanings, as I said. So one meaning is actions that don't produce reaction, and another meaning of akarma is not performing one's duties.
Here, Prabhupada says like routine work, emergency work, and
okay, that's another classification of karma. Yes, so these are two classifications of karma. So one classification is karma, vikarma, akarma. Another classification is what I'm thinking Prabhupada is referring to is nitya karma, naimittik karma. So nitya karma is routine work. Naimittik karma is like, of course, naimittik karma is not exactly emergency work. That is, so naimittik is occasional. So nitya karma is that which is done daily or routine. Naimittik karma is that which is done occasionally. Example of nitya karma is like chanting the holy names, Gayatri. So this is nitya karma every day. And occasional activities are like fasting on Ekadashi once in 15 days. So that's naimittik karma. But Prabhupada is referring to something else, it looks like. Emergency work is also there, and desired activities. So anyway, routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the scripture injunctions without desired results is action in the mode of goodness. Work with results because anyway, Prabhupada does not exactly define these three. Yeah. So I don't know.
And like here it is told that one is not entitled for the fruits of the action. So if I consider a person who is working, he is getting say X amount of salary. So but if we apply this verse, so he has to enjoy some fruits.
So therefore, yeah, I understand your point. So therefore, the meaning is that some money is definitely required for one's bodily maintenance. Yes. But that is not considered sense gratification, isn't it? Yes. That comes within the quota of what a person can take. So as the Bhagavatam says, Kamasya na indriya priti labho jiveta yavata. Jivasya tattva jnanada. So labho jiveta yavata means for self-preservation. So whatever is required to keep body and soul together, that much is definitely required. But then what is being referred to is profits over and above that. Yes. The profits over and above one's maintenance of family, whatever minimum is required. That is, one is entitled to that. That is Ishavasam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatam. Whatever is your quota, you take that much. But then whatever is excess, that is for whom?
But who defines that quota? Because like I can be happy eating chapati, sabji, rice, dal, but paneer is there, then sweet is there. They are like, no, means it's like.
So therefore, every person has to honestly decide that. What is one's quota is individual. It cannot be generalized, no? The needs of, say, the CEO of a company and the needs of a clerk are not the same, right? Yes. So everyone has got their minimum quota according to their status, according to their work, job, and so on and so forth. So according to various factors, then everyone has got his minimum quota. So therefore, then each one has to understand for himself, what is my quota? So that means basically who else can decide? One has to decide for oneself only, honestly.
But himself, if we decide, we generally tend to go for sense gratification.
Yes. So therefore, then if that's a problem, then one can consult. One can take guidance from some seniors and find out. That's the only way, na? So basically, one has to know how much is necessity and how much is luxury. Prabhupada in that lecture we were hearing that day, Prabhupada is saying in the Western world, they have invented many unnecessary necessities. Unnecessary necessities. And Prabhupada in other lectures, Prabhupada explains that. So he says that for what there is advertisement?
To promote a product.
So he says there is advertisement for alcohol, wine, meat, for all, and so many other clothes, shoes, for all this there's advertisement. Do you find how many advertisements you find for rice, wheat? How many advertisements?
No.
Not much, no? Don't find. Why? Necessities people will buy anyways.
Yes.
Advertisement is required for what? Unnecessary necessities. That means what? They're not necessities only. They're not necessities only, but what imagines them to be necessities. So then one has to understand for oneself what is unnecessary and what is necessary.
But if we see in modern days context, for example, I'll take example of mobile phone. So 50 years back, there was no mobile phone and people were living peacefully.
See, everything has to be seen in context, na? So now everyone is using.
So that Shastra does not change because of the Lok Mat.
So therefore, Shastra is not changing. Shastra is not changing. So one has to understand in the present day situation what is required for me. So now, if you say that in the previous days, what previous days? When we joined the ashram, for how many years we never had a mobile? So many years we never had a mobile. Mobiles came later. The work was still going on. Now, if you are told that even that mobile you can't use, what will you say?
My opinion.
Huh?
Means generally because we require mobiles for communication.
That's the point. So now you are saying we require. That means what? It has become a necessity.
But so, things were moving on without it also.
See, just now what you said, you yourself said it.
Yeah, I agree, Prabhuji.
So that means now it has become a necessity.
But if
still, if you think that your work can go on without it, well and good. Who's stopping you? Who's stopping you? वही point है. See, I will tell you my own practical example. I will tell. I never wanted WhatsApp on my mobile, but I was told to because other people wanted. So then for service, we have to do it. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, if you're told to live under a tree, don't be attached to the palace. And if you're told to live in the palace, don't be attached to the tree. That is what is meant by two sides of the attachment. Prabhupada is writing, no? Two sides of the attachment.
Yes.
Both are two sides of the same coin. So if one is told, and that is required for service, if one says, no, I'm renounced, that is another attachment. The attachment is not to what I like or what I don't like. The attachment is to what? Service. The attachment is to service. So Srila Prabhupada, he traveled in these airplanes, not alone. He always had two people with him. One secretary, one servant. 3 people traveling all around the world. You imagine the cost in those days when air travel was almost unknown for Indians. In those days, Prabhupada, 3 people were traveling. This height of Yukta Vairagya. So that's what. Just we are attached to service, that's all. So therefore, then every person has to decide for himself what is required for him. See?
Thank you.
Okay. Now in the next verse, Krishna gives a precise definition of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga uchyate. This is called yoga. So this is a definition of Nishkam Karma Yoga. What is that? Perform your duty equipoised, Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So this is yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Okay, so sangam tyaktva, giving up the attachment to the fruits like siddhi or siddhi, that means success, failure. Samo bhutva, equipoised. So there's Prabhupada writes, the Supreme is the Lord, and because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. Okay, so for this, Srila Prabhupada gives one example. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Anybody knows what example Prabhupada gives? Okay, Prabhupada's example is that just like if somebody is working for a company, say he has a salary of say 20,000 per month, and so say some month the company makes less profit than the last month, correct? Profits vary, correct? So sometimes there's more profit, sometimes there's less profit. Does the salary of the employee change? No, that remains the same. So that means what? That responsibility of the profits or losses, that is taken by the company. And the person who's working for the company, he just gets whatever he is supposed to get. Of course, if the whole company is diwala, that's another thing. But in most cases, so that's how it works. So the profit or loss, that concern, who takes? Who takes? Yes, the company owner, the company managers. So they take that responsibility. And this, because this person is just working for him, then he gets his share. So that's the example Prabhupada gives for this. This is the beauty of Prabhupada's purports, lectures. Prabhupada gives all these contemporary examples, which modern people can appreciate. So you never find them in previous Acharya's commentaries. I think so. You should speak in the mic. If there are 4 people online, they'll be thinking why there is in between silence.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You were telling that because in the verse it is mentioned all sangam tattva, all attachment. So he said this is definition of nishkama karma yoga. But Prabhupada writes in the purport the definition of bhakti yoga.
Good. I was just expecting somebody to ask that question. Somewhere in, yes, this pastime was told by Yogeshwar Prabhu. If you know Yogeshwar Prabhu, he is a French devotee. He was from France. He was preaching in France. So he tells this pastime that once one French scholar, he told Yogeshwar Prabhu, after reading Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, he said, what your Swamiji has done? What has he done? Everywhere where there is no mention of bhakti, he mentions bhakti. Where there is no mention about Hare Krishna mantra, he mentions Hare Krishna mantra. What has he done? What type of Bhagavad Gita is this? So it's very critical. So Yogeshwar Prabhu came back and told to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was very happy. And Srila Prabhupada said, he has actually understood what I've done. That means what? Srila Prabhupada has done it on purpose. So you see, even in the entire purport of the previous verse or this verse, do you find Nishkam Karma Yoga written? Why do you say not much? Where is it written? Where? Where is mentioned? Both the purports, previous verse, this verse. Where is Karma Yoga mentioned? You tell.
Prabhupada writes, the Lord advised that Arjun.
You tell me, where is Karma Yoga mentioned?
That is.
There's no mention of the word Karma Yoga. And it's good you brought up this question now, because this is what is going to happen throughout. So we'll be speaking about Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Prabhupada doesn't mention any of these terms. Maybe Ashtanga Yoga he mentioned somewhere, but hardly you will find anywhere mention of Karma Yoga. Some very few mention of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Of course, Prabhupada defines all of them in the last verse of the 6th chapter. There he defines everything. And somewhere in between here and there. But most places you will find like these purports, where Prabhupada speaks everything in terms of Krishna consciousness, devotional service. And so therefore, it's very important, because definitely in our preaching, somebody may ask us this question. And so definitely we must know how to answer this question. And in fact, is only Shivram Maharaj has written an entire book. I don't know how many of you have seen. Is there on Veda Besa thing? Bhakti Vedanta Purports, where he is justifying all these various aspects of Prabhupada's translations and purports. But a precise answer to the question is, there are 2 points. So now we have to understand a little more about the yoga ladder. So we'll go a little bit deeper into the understanding of the yoga ladder. So what to do? You asked your question, so we have to a little more technical details you have to tolerate now. Whatever, I do my duty. So, and this may also be useful in writing your open book essays. Okay, so it would be wise to take down some notes. So every type of yoga here has certain characteristics and components. Okay. So coming to Karma Yoga. So what is the characteristic of Karma Yoga? Right. So basically, if you want to say it precisely, detached work. The characteristic of Karma Yoga is detached work. Now, if you go to Jnana Yoga, what is the characteristic? Okay, knowledge. Yes, you can say knowledge. Main thing is knowledge. But knowledge is added to detached. Does detached work end? No, detached work continues. But one more characteristic gets added. One more component gets added. That is knowledge. So the characteristics of Jnana Yoga are what? Yes, detached work and knowledge. Now you go to Ashtanga Yoga. Some more components are added. What is that? Yes, meditation. Meditation and sense control. Mind and sense control. So these are 2 important components of Ashtanga Yoga. They are added to the previous components. Okay? Detached work continues, knowledge continues, but what is added? Mind and sense control and meditation, they're added. Yes, Jnana Yoga also sense control is there, but more specifically, that is mentioned for Ashtanga Yoga. Then you go to Bhakti Yoga, one more component gets added. What is that? Yes, devotion, Bhakti itself. It gets added to all the previous components. All the previous components are still there. Okay? Everyone is getting it? All the previous components are all there. Okay, let's make it a little more practical. So in Bhakti Yoga, so because we're all practicing Bhakti Yoga, correct? Any doubts? No, sometimes that itself becomes a big doubt. What are we practicing? After hearing all this, sometimes when that becomes a big doubt. What am I practicing? So we are all definitely practicing Bhakti Yoga. Why? Huh? Yes, there is some faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One knows, at least theoretically, Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna and we are working for Krishna. So therefore, we are all practicing Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So now, as we are practicing Bhakti Yoga, are we practicing detached work? Yes? Oh, why do you say so? Yes, because you're offering all the fruits of activities for Krishna. You're supposed to do that. Okay. Now, the next one is knowledge. So, is that also present in Bhakti Yoga? Why do you say?
Body and soul.
Yeah, here Gyan. That's why we're studying this. That's why we're studying this, no? This is Gyan. But what is the difference between that Gyan and this Gyan?
That Gyan.
This is?
Evam parampara.
Yes. So this is mental speculation. This is Shruti, Shabda Praman. But still, the component of Gyan is there. Okay, then is the component of meditation there? What we're doing?
Chanting of the holy name.
Okay, chanting of the holy names, that's meditation. Just yesterday I was hearing, or today I was hearing Prabhupada's lecture. Prabhupada is saying, so as we are chanting Hare Krishna, the tongue and the ear, very nice statement, and this you can think about it. Prabhupada says the tongue and the ear are trapped with Hare Krishna. They're trapped. That means what? That means that that's the only business. So as we are chanting, tongue is chanting and the ears are hearing. That's all. It's like a trap. That's how the mind gets trapped in between. And then Prabhupada says, this is samadhi. This is samadhi. So as one is chanting the holy names, if one is totally focused on hearing, then it is samadhi. It's samadhi. And that is what is required. The problem is we are not able to focus. That is the problem. But if one is able to focus, then it is actually samadhi. It's like trapped. Only Hare Krishna. So that's meditation. Then are we controlling our mind and senses? Why do you say so? Four regular principles is one thing. But what about all the Mahaprasad? What? Okay, fine. Basically, we're using all our senses and mind in Krishna service. Correct? Okay, and then plus there is bhakti. Correct? So why do we say that we have bhakti? The bhakti component. What does the bhakti component indicate? Yes. So ultimately, what we're doing is meant for pleasing Krishna. That's meaning of bhakti. So all these are the components of all these various yoga systems, and bhakti yoga is the topmost. It has the components of all the other yoga systems. Correct? So now, instead of karma yoga, if I write bhakti yoga, instead of karma yoga, I use the term bhakti yoga. Does it have the component of detached work? Yes. So what's wrong? Similarly, if instead of jnana yoga, I use bhakti yoga, the components of jnana yoga are there in bhakti. They are required for bhakti also. So that is why even philosophically it is not wrong. When Prabhupada writes Krishna consciousness, bhakti yoga, instead of karma yoga, jnana yoga, it's not wrong because the components are there. That's one point. The second point is, how many devotees, we're talking about ISKCON devotees, How many actually understand this whole thing?
Those who do Bhakti Shastra.
Well, we'll see after the Bhakti Shastra. How many will remember this? So, even as devotees, we find it difficult to understand all these technical things. And this Bhagavad Gita is meant for whom? Huh? Yes, it's meant for everyone. It's public distribution. So if Prabhupada would have used all these technical terms in this Bhagavad Gita, people would be seeing circles. Arey, what is this Swamiji writing? Arey Baba, this is so difficult to understand. Now only people, what they say? बहुत बड़ा है. Say or no? And if Prabhupada put some more technical details, it would become a little more bigger. And they would have read all these technical things. What practical difference would it have made to their life? Simply complicated. That's all. And that would mean rejection rather than acceptance. Therefore, Prabhupada made it very simple out of sheer compassion. Out of sheer compassion for all the conditioned living entities of Kali Yuga who are Manda, Sumanda Mataya, Manda Bhagya, all dull-headed, that they Prabhupada, blockheaded. Some stone block. And of course, so many times Prabhupada said, head filled with cow dung. So, this is condition of present day people. What they can understand. So therefore, Prabhupada said, okay, let them read any purport, let them understand the goal. Because practically that is what is required, isn't it? Ultimately, whatever one reads and all that, who is going to practice all this? Who's going to practice Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga? No one. And that's what Prabhupada keeps writing in all these purports. All this is not practical for the sage. So then ultimately what a person is going to do practically? What he's supposed to do? Chant Hare Krishna. So why not write that only in every purport? Ultimately that's what he's supposed to do. Why not write that only in every purport? And that's exactly what Prabhupada has done. And as they say, Falena Parichayate. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. So because Prabhupada purposefully did this, what is the result? So many people have become devotees simply by reading Bhagavad Gita. It reminds me of an instant which is known as Radhanath Swami Maharaj tells in one lecture. So, I'm forgetting some details where it took place and all that. But in any case, so there was this man, his work was welding. Welding, welding. So he was quite an accomplished welder and he used to do welding for all big buildings and all that. So he was doing this welding and he was feeling hungry. So he thought, let me take a break. So he got a watermelon. Tarboos, karbooz, jo bhi hai. So he got a watermelon and बहुत बीज होते हैं ना, तो बीज में फू. So he said, better I'll sit near one dustbin. So I'll sit near the dustbin, I'll eat seeds, I'll throw. So he was doing that. तो फिर उतने में क्या हो गया? So watermelon is quite slippery also, no? Surface is slippery. So as he was eating, वो piece उसी में गिर गया, कचड़े में. But the man was very hungry. बहुत भूख लगी. तो he said, नहीं. He put his hand inside to get the watermelon. So when he thought he caught hold of his watermelon and he pulled his hand out of the dustbin, there was a book instead of the watermelon. So he was a little disappointed. अरे क्या है, मुझे तो वो चाहिए था, मुझे भूख लगी है, ये क्या बुक में थोड़ी खाऊंगा. But in case he thought, okay, ठीक है, बुक आ गया तो देख लेंगे क्या है इसमें. So he took this book and he began to read. And so as he began to read, he got quite interested and he read the whole book. And after he read the whole book, so he came to the conclusion that what I'm supposed to do is to chant this mantra. What is the mantra? This is American. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And so, and he's 16, in many places mentioned 16 rounds. He didn't understand what is the 16 rounds. So he thought, let me chant whole day. Whenever I get time, I'll chant. So whole day he was chanting. And then when he met Maharaj, then he was asking Maharaj, so can you please tell what is the meaning of this mantra and all that. But you see, the goal has been achieved. And this is not one story like this. There's so many stories like this, where people have begun to chant without meeting a single devotee. So many cases like that. That is the potency of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So ultimately, what is required? We want people to chant, right? That is what is ultimately required. And then, if they begin to chant, then afterwards they can understand all this philosophy. Okay. And that is actually what Krishna says. You'll see in the 18th chapter. In the 18th chapter, Krishna says that this message of Bhagavad Gita must be given only to devotees. So then somebody may ask question, but how to make a devotee? You have to give knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to make a devotee also, no? So there's one lecture on that verse Prabhupada gives. So Prabhupada says, so first of all, make a devotee and then teach him Bhagavad Gita. This is our double task. And that's exactly what Prabhupada has done. So by reading the Bhagavad Gita, without understanding all the intricacies and details of Bhagavad Gita, he becomes a devotee first. And then after he becomes a devotee, then we explain all this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita to him. So that's exactly what Krishna wants. And that's exactly what Prabhupada is doing. So amazing. So many scholars may say, oh, Swamiji did this, Swamiji did that, he gave some this meaning, that meaning, so many things scholars may accuse. And To be honest, sometimes even our ISKCON scholars accuse. So, but in any case, the fact is the process works. And Mahaprabhu's mission has spread all over the world and is spreading all over the world. That is the important point. And then after one becomes a devotee, then you sit in the class and break your head understanding Karma Yoga. And then of course, then we can say, oh yes, Krishna also said, studying Bhagavad Gita is using one's intelligence in Krishna's service. So in this way, all of Krishna's instructions are being fulfilled. So Vamsidhar, you got your answer? So everyone should remember this answer. If anyone asks you this question, because it's very obvious, anyone who's a scholar on the Bhagavad Gita, he knows these things. So then obviously the question will come that Prabhupada doesn't mention all these things. So everyone should know the answer to this, why Prabhupada has done this. It's all done on purpose. It's not that Prabhupada didn't know all these things. Prabhupada is referring to all previous Acharya's commentaries and giving his commentaries. Prabhupada specifically, purposefully omitted the technical details, which he does in many other places also. Is it clear?
One thing you rightly said, like in 18.68, Krishna says to supreme secret to devotees.
Correct.
And generally we use it for some other, like we misuse it basically. This verse.
Of course, that verse is used to encourage preaching, correct?
Yes.
But that's also fine. Nothing wrong in that. Ultimately, everything is counted within preaching only. Even whether it is general preaching or teaching or whatever, ultimately it's giving. Preaching means what? Sankirtan. Basically,
Yes.
it's kirtan. So that's also fine. Nothing wrong in that.
One more question. Like, as you told, like, Bhakti Yoga is the topmost thing, and we all are practicing Bhakti Yoga. So
But I know your question. But there could be contaminations of karma, jnana, and yoga. That will come to in the 7th chapter. It is Bhakti Yoga, but there could be some contamination of this.
It is little different. So many times, like for example, a person is working. So we ask,
a person
is a working devotee, working devotee. So we ask him to donate some part of his salary to service of Lord. So that comes in the part of Karma Yoga.
No, that's the point. Why is he giving that money?
For service to Lord.
Then why is it different from Bhakti?
But
why?
I agree, Prabhuji, it's part of Bhakti. As such, Bhakti Yoga is inclusive of all the lower. But by definition, if we see, Karma Yoga is the concluding verse of Karma Yoga that Krishna.
No, you're going against the basic understanding of Karma Yoga.
Okay.
Everything is based on realization.
Okay.
What is the difference between the realization of the Karma Yogi and the Bhakti Yogi?
Bhakti Yoga is neither attached to work, neither.
No, that's one part of it. What is his realization of the absolute truth?
He Bhagavan realization. Okay.
And what is this realization?
Impersonal.
That makes the whole difference.
Yes.
So therefore, even though he may be donating a part of his income or whatever, but because his realization of the absolute truth is Bhagavan, so he's essentially a devotee. As I said, essentially he's a devotee. Contamination of these lower yoga systems could be there, but essentially he's a devotee.
Actually, I don't know. Many people have different opinion on this Karma Yoga because I heard one lecture of his only.
Okay, fine. So you see, Srila Prabhupada, again, Srila Prabhupada, just to make things easy for common understanding, Prabhupada would generally put Karma Yoga also under Bhakti Yoga. But then when Prabhupada speaks of Karma Yoga in that way, he says one gives the fruits of the activities to Krishna. Right. So again, if you see from a technical point of view, that is specifically called as Bhagavat Arpita Nishkam Karma Yoga. Bhagavat Arpita Nishkam Karma Yoga. But then it is with the understanding that I am still giving to Bhagavan. So that is for making the understanding simple, basically. But technically speaking, if you see, technically speaking, the difference lies in the realization of the absolute truth. That is the main difference. So once one has a very clear understanding, at least understanding, and of course, to some degree, everyone has realization, therefore we are sitting here. No? So when one understands Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, my life is for him. If one has that realization, he is on the top. And what you're saying about these things are all sometimes said just to make the understanding simpler for common people. And that Prabhupada also does, as we will see in the furthers. But from a technical point of view, as given by the Acharyas, this is the understanding. All right? Huh?
Why only Prabhupada or all Acharyas or this?
This is the specific contribution of only His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who has descended for this Kali Yuga, specifically sent by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for this Kali Yuga, for all of us. So only his business to do all this manipulation. What to do? Fallen conditioned souls like all of us. For that Prabhupada had to do all this natak.
Brahman realized and then a neophyte Bhakti Yogi. Which one is greater? Like,
what do you think?
I think Brahman realized that he is soul and not the body. But as a neophyte Bhakti Yogi, we are not yet realized. We have just a theoretical knowledge. But somewhere I read that the beginner devotee is greater than a Brahman realized.
Then you read, na? Then still you are asking.
But I didn't understand. I didn't understand that how it is. Prabhupada somewhere is written.
You have quoted Prabhupada only.
But I didn't accept that.
Now you accept. Why? Why even the neophyte devotee is greater than the greatest of karma yogis and jnana yogis? Huh? It's all based on realization. What's his realization? So Prabhupada even said this small girl Saraswati, she's a good preacher. Why? She goes to someone and asks, no, she asks, who is God? And then the person doesn't know. She says, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada says, this is preaching. So even the small girl has faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That same faith is not there with Karma Yogi, Jnana Yogi.
Suppose they are realized Brahman and Paramatma, then, but we are saying that Krishna is God, but they have realized Paramatma in their heart, and Karma Yogi, suppose they have realized Brahman. The topmost Karma Yogi is greater than a neophyte Bhakti Yogi or smaller?
See, it is just like, say, actually we even see it practically, you see it sometimes. But in any case, say there is somebody who has done PhD, PhD in mathematics. Somebody has done PhD in mathematics. And there is a 12th standard student, 12th standard student. So the 12th standard student, so he's quite intelligent. He also studies all the books of mathematics, and he manages to understand all those higher level of mathematics. All that he manages to understand somehow. At least he understands. Will he be accepted as a PhD student? Will he be accepted as PhD student?
Same knowledge means he can be accepted.
So after 12th standard, can he get a post of professor in the university?
No, no.
Then? Why? Why not? Why not? Bolo.
He has to,
Huh?
practically he has to go for the
Practically he has to go and he has to learn, and then he has to actually realize all that knowledge. Then he gets the post. The same thing here. So these persons, to get that realization, what? Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. To get that realization for these people, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. But now, even that small girl already has that realization that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That makes the whole difference. And all those other things, what you're talking about, mind and sense control, this, that will eventually, very soon take place. So you see, the proof is in our own movement. These hippies came, what was their mind and sense control? But then, you see, within a few years of chanting Hare Krishna and following the process, they became sannyasis. Some of them hardly 2-3 years in the movement, Prabhupada gave sannyas. Why? It's all based on realization. Everything else is external. Other things are Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janyati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chedat. If Vasudeva Bhagavati is there, Jnana and Vairagya, Ashu means what? Very soon. These people surrounding themselves with fires and cold water, all that, these people get by eating Mahaprasad. It's a fact. You understand? Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki, yeah, 10 minutes break. Okay, let's read Prabhupada's lecture on the verse.
This technique is explained here with the siddhi asiddhyo samo bhutva, siddhi asiddhyo samo bhutva, that you do not be anxious for the success and failure of the attempt you are making. Success and failure. A common example can be cited in this connection. Suppose you are working for your master. You are working in a firm for selling something. The master says that you go and find out some customers for this particular thing. You go out. Now, you sincerely work for it. Suppose you get business worth $1 lakh or something like that. And suppose one day you don't get any business. Now, the day in which you got some business and on the day in which you did not get any business, it doesn't matter. Your connection with the master is there. So you get your salary. When the profit is 1 lakh, 100,000s of dollars, you don't expect any profit out of it. And when there is no business, there is no loss on your part. Siddhya siddhyo. Similarly, if you act on behalf of the Supreme Lord, you can do any work you are situated. That doesn't matter. But if you act on behalf of the Supreme Lord, just like Arjuna is being requested indirectly, that Lord Krishna says that this fighting is my plan. So if you work for it, you have nothing to enjoy or suffer out of the reaction, because you shall work under my instruction.
All right. So we already gave that example. Okay, this is another lecture, I think. Also.
Now here, the yogasthita kuru karmani. Yogastha kuru karmani. In India, there are many families still. At least in my family, when I was family man, I was also doing this. That the deity Lord Krishna, the Murti means deity or the idol of Radha Krishna, established in a room.
So this is 1966 lecture. Therefore, Prabhupada is specifically saying that Murti, idol. Okay, so he's explaining these basic things because it's a 1966 lecture.
That is called the God's room. The God's room. So our duty is to rise early in the morning and open the door of the God's room, offer him some prayers and some kirtan, and then cleanse the room and then begin our daily duty. Take our breakfast, and the whole idea is that the proprietor of this house is the Supreme Lord, and we are all workers. The whole idea is the proprietor is the Supreme Lord, and we are all workers. Now I am going to my office, to my work, to earn some money, because without money, my household affairs cannot be run. So I am thinking that this money is required, otherwise God's service will be stopped. So in earning that money in my office or in my workshop, my God consciousness is there. Therefore, even in earning, whatever may be the process, you are yogasthita. Yogastha. You're situated in yoga. Now you get your money, then you go to the market. You're thinking, oh, this is very nice thing. Oh, it can be offered to Lord Krishna. It can be offered to Lord Krishna.
So you see how Prabhupada is making things so simple for new people to understand. So down to earth practical. God's room and this and that. Nothing, no technical terms at all. No altar, this, that, nothing. So this is how Prabhupada preached. Actually, you have to learn how Prabhupada preached to new people. So down to earth, simple, no technical details. That's all what they could understand. And that's how people got attracted. So in any case, so that's the meaning of karma yoga, basically doing everything for the Lord. Okay, 49. Dure nahi avram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanaman vicha kripana falahetava. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of the work are misers. So what is this Dure nahi avram karma? Discarded long distance, avaram karma, abominable activity. So what is abominable activity? Karma kand. So here the whole reference is keep away karma kand. Now Krishna is trying to elevate Arjuna's consciousness to what? Karma yoga. So therefore he's saying keep karma kanda away. Don't get involved in karma kand. That is abominable activity. Attachment to sense gratification. So keep that and engage in what? Buddhi yoga. So here Buddhi yoga means, what's that? Karma yoga. So here in this context, Buddhi yoga means karma yoga. What is proper translated as? See the word to word? Yes. So that's Prabhupada's translation. Krishna consciousness. But then we said Buddhi yoga has two meanings. So it's still correct. It's still correct. But in the view of the context in which the verses are being spoken, the technical meaning of Buddhi yoga in this context is karma yoga. Okay, so that's how we understand. Buddha sharanam manvicha. So surrender, with full surrender. And then he says kripana phala hetava. So he says those who are attached to the fruits, they are conjuice people, miser, kripana. Because what is the quality of the kripana? Yes, he was only thinking about himself. He's selfish. He's only thinking about himself. So therefore he's called as kripana, because he's attached to the fruits. He wants to keep all the fruits for himself. So that is the karma kanda business. Okay. And so Prabhupada is writing everything should be done in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of Krishna. Misers do not know how to utilize the assets of riches which they acquire by good fortune by hard labor. Okay, fine. 50. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukruta dushkrute tasmad yoga yujasva yoga karma sukaushalam. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. So here Krishna is saying this is the yoga karmasu kaushalam, the art of doing work. What is the art of doing work? Buddhi yukto. The art of doing all work is to sacrifice the fruits of activities for the supreme, acting in buddhi yoga. Buddhi yukto jahatiha. Then the result of acting in buddhi yoga or karma yoga is ube sukrita dushkrute. So one is not affected by pious activities, impious activities, because the person is performing all his activities for the supreme. And so because he's performing his activities for the supreme, he is not affected by sukrute dushkrute. So he's saying this is the art of doing work. Prabhupada's lecture, please read.
Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Kaushalam means expert trick. Expert trick. Just like there are two men working. One man is very expert. Another man is not so expert. Even in machinery, there is something wrong in the machine. The man who is not very expert, he is trying whole day night how to adjust it. But the expert comes and at once sees what is the defect, and he joins one wire this this way and that way, and machine becomes start.
So Prabhupada is making sound of starting of a machine.
You see, just like sometimes we find difficulty in our this tape recorder, and Mr. Carl or somebody comes and rectifies this. So everything required some expert knowledge.
Continue.
Kaushalam means expert service. Expert, Kaushalam. Kushala. Kushala means auspicious. And from Kushala, it comes to Kaushala. That means if you learn the trick, how to work on the platform of yoga, then that is the highest technique of doing work. Buddhi yukto jaha. And result of that work, what is that? Now Buddhi yukta. When you work from the spiritual platform with your intelligence, then jahati iha ubhe shukta
Sukruta dushkrute.
Sukruta dushkruta. Now for ordinary work, if you do good work, then you have to take good result. And if you do bad work or sinful work, then if you have to take the effect of such bad and sinful work. Sukruta and dushkruta. But one who work from spiritual platform, he has not got to take the result of good work or bad work, because he is transcendental.
Okay, so this is a spiritual platform. So it was not. Huh? Bolo?
Is there a difference between abandoning results and detaching from results?
So that
is there a difference between abandoning the results in Karma Yoga, in context of Karma Yoga, abandoning results and detach from results? Like yesterday when you were explaining Karma Yoga initially, when the Yoga Lagar started, so you were explaining that Karma Yoga, you gave an example of someone getting 100 rupees of profit and you said Sakama is giving 50% and Nishkama is giving 100%. And this is what you said. So that is
that was just a gross example to understand the concept. But basically, the person is offering the fruits of his activities for a spiritual cause. So even in that example, so when he is reducing it by 50 rupees or not taking any money, so he's giving the money for whom? For whom he's giving?
the spiritual purpose, obviously.
Yes, because he is giving the bags for a spiritual cause. So that means that fruits he has given for a spiritual cause.
No, that's true, because some Prabhupada says in some other place, miser example, when he said miser is someone who doesn't use it for himself and doesn't give in donation also. So as good as like someone abandoning the jet, he gets 100, neither he gives it donation, nor he keeps for his own sense gratification.
He just, Prabhupada says, he just keeps it and looks at it. He likes looking at his money. No, but that's not the concept here. He uses it for a spiritual cause. Okay, another lecture.
That means everything which we do for sense gratification, that is material, and anything which we do for the satisfaction of the Supreme, that is spiritual platform. That's all. So we have to discriminate whether I'm working for sense gratification or whether I'm working for the satisfaction of the Supreme. If this art we can learn, then our life becomes spiritualized.
Okay, so this is a deep principle which Prabhupada is speaking about. This is from the highest platform of Bhakti Yoga Prabhupada is speaking now. So whether I'm working for sense gratification or whether I'm working for satisfaction, that is the art.
Spiritual life does not mean that we have to change something of these activities which we are. Already we are engaged, or our form of the body will change to something extraordinary. Nothing. The same body, the same feature, the same activity, same engagement, everything same. But we have to know the art, whether these activities are being done from the spiritual platform or from the material platform. If we can discriminate in that way, as Lord Krishna advises to Arjuna, Durena Haya Avaram Karma Buddhi Yogad Dhananjay. Oh Dhananjay, Dhananjay is another name of Arjuna, my dear Dhananjay. Buddhi Yoga. By your intelligence, and as we have explained, Buddhi Yoga means devotional service to the Lord. So on the criterion of Buddhi Yoga, on the criteria of devotional service to the Lord, you have to do everything. That is the, I mean to say, technique. That is the technique. Durena hai avaram karma buddhi yoga. Buddhi yoga. You have to use your intelligence, whether I am doing this on the platform of pure consciousness or on the platform of this body. Now, in the beginning, you require guidance. Without guide, it is not possible. Anything which you want to learn in the beginning, any art or science, you require a guide.
So Prabhupada is explaining that this is the art and it requires guidance. Okay. 51. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmukta padam gacchantyanayam. So now if one works in this way in buddhi yoga, what's going to be the result? By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. Okay, so the ultimate result of the performance of Karma Yoga also is that one becomes free. So, phalam tyaktva manishina. So, he renounces the fruits of his activities. And the result of that is Janma Bandha Vinirmukta. So one becomes free from the bondage of birth and death. And one achieves Padam Gachanti Anamayam. So one achieves the supreme abode of the Lord. So that's the ultimate result of practicing karma yoga. Correct? That's the ultimate result. How much time that will take, that's another thing. But that is the ultimate result. Okay, Prabhupada is talking about Samashruti Padapallavanas. Yes, yes. And that's what we explained, Baba. Whole Ramayana is over. Yes.
This verse uses this word, na? Yoga karma sukoshalam.
What was that?
Yoga karma sukoshalam. So, sometimes we see, like, can we cook, like suppose a Mataji is cooking, she is very expert in cooking. So her cooking becomes a devotional service, and she's so expert in it. So is it also comes under this karma sukoshalam?
See, the basic understanding here is what is the art? The art of doing work is instead of becoming attached to the fruits and performing the activities of sense gratification, one offers the fruits to the Supreme. That is the art. What is the art? What is the technique? One type of work becomes the cause of bondage. One type of work becomes the cause of liberation. What is the art? One only has to change the consciousness for whom one is performing the activity. If only one changes the consciousness, the same activity which was the cause of bondage becomes the cause for liberation. That is the art. Which activity? That's a detail. All right. Okay, 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarashyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your intelligence is passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So all this refers to karma kand, the dense forest of karma kand. So so Krishna is saying, don't get moha, don't become illusioned by this dense forest of karma kand. So you be situated in buddhi yoga, karma yoga, and don't bother about this karma kand. So that's the basic understanding of this verse. And as Prabhupada is quoting Sri Madhvendra Puri, and where Madhvendra Puri is saying, I don't care for all these ritualistic activities. So all these ritualistic activities are karma kand activities. Of course, the same rituals can also be used in Krishna service. But then if the connection to the Supreme is not there, then they're simply ritualistic activities. So therefore, Madhvendra Puri says, I have nothing to do with all these rituals. So basically, it's all referring to karma kand, and that's what Krishna is encouraging Arjuna in the section to give up the karma kand and come to the spiritual platform. As Prabhupada ends the purport by saying, and if one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penance and sacrifices as recommended in the revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engage in the rituals, etc., then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagement. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcend the limit of Shabda Brahma or the range of the Vedas and the Upanishads. 53. Shruti vipratipanna te yadha stasyati nishala samadha vachala buddhis tada yogam avapsyasi. When your mind is no longer disturbed with the flowery language of the Vedas and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Okay, so again, the same point. Krishna is sort of summarizing the section here, and he's saying that when your mind is not nischala, not agitated by all this Shruti Vipratipanna, by all these fruitive results that are being spoken of in the Vedas, then you'll be situated in Samadhi, Samadhav Achala Buddhis, Tada Yogam Avapsis. Then you'll be situated in Yoga. So this will be the ultimate result of performing Karma Yoga. As Prabhupada writes, a Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotee of the Lord should not be disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, nor be engaged in fruitive activities for promotion to the heavenly kingdom. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communion with Krishna And thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. Now, since Krishna has spoken about how by practicing karma yoga one comes to samadhi, so therefore now Arjuna has some questions. Okay, this is the summary of what we have discussed so far. So Krishna is defeating Arjuna's arguments of compassion in the section from 11 to 10, enjoyment and sinful reactions, karma kands, and performing activities without reactions, buddhi yoga or karma yoga, 39 to 53. So that's how Krishna is defeating Arjuna's arguments. So 3 arguments have been defeated, correct? Now we will see where the 4th argument is defeated. Okay. So now we go to the next section. So the next section is about Siddha Prajna. Okay, let's recite. Arjuna uvacha Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk?" Purport.
As there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of particular situation, similarly, one who is Krishna conscious has his particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As a rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man, as a diseased man, as a diseased man has his symptoms by which he is known as a diseased, or as a learned man has his symptoms. So a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptoms from Bhagavad Gita. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks, for speech is the most important quality of a man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. As certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow as stated below.
Yes. So how many questions is Arjuna asking? Yes, 5 questions. Okay, so what are the symptoms? How does he speak? What is language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So what do these questions mean? So first one is quite direct. What are the symptoms of one who's situated in samadhi or sthita prajna? Prajna. Pra means complete, gya means knowledge. So one who's situated in complete knowledge in samadhi. What are the symptoms? That means externally. What are the symptoms? How does he speak? And what is his language? So what does the question mean? Does it mean Arjuna is asking, so what language he spoke? Hindi, English? Surely must be Gujarati, isn't it? Krishna is from Gujarat. Is he referring to that language? So what's he referring to? So the meaning of this question is, how does he speak and what is language? It means what is his response to the dualities of life? That's the inner meaning of the question. How does he speak or how does he respond? Those are not 2 questions actually, that's 1 question only, technically. So how does he respond to various dualities of life? That's the meaning of that question. So various dualities, happiness, distress, man, apman, cold, heat, so many dualities in this material world. So how does one respond to those dualities? Next question, how does he sit? Does it refer to any asana? No. So the meaning of this question is, how is he situated amid sense objects? So when there are sense objects, how is he situated? What is his response, or how does he behave when there are sense objects? And the fourth one, how does he walk? Refers to how does he use his senses? How does he use his senses? Yes. Yes. You can say it's pure devotee. And Krishna answers all these questions in the following verses. So symptoms are answered in verse number 55, speech 56 to 57. How does he sit? 58 to 63, and how he walks 64 to 72. Okay? Fine. 55th verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamanogatan Atmanyevatmana Tushta Sthita Prajnastadochate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind thus purified finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Purport? आप लोगों का हो गया क्या वहाँ?
The Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness or devotional service of the Lord has all good qualities of the great sages. Whereas a person who is not so transcendently situated has no good qualifications because he is sure to be taken refuge in his own mental concoctions. Consequently, it is rightly said herein that one has to give up all kind of sense desires manufactured by mental concoctions. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside with
Without
subside without extraneous efforts. Therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation. For this devotional service will instantly help one onto the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desire resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord.
Okay, so this is the basic symptom of the Sthita Prajna. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogadam. Okay, so he gives up all kaman. He gives up all desires for sense gratification. And from where those desires for sense gratification are coming? Mental concoction, minds. So it's the mind which thinks, oh, this will make me happy, that will not make me happy, this will make me happy, that will not make me happy. So all this is coming in the mind. From where the mind is getting all these ideas? Previous experiences. So all the previous experiences are stored in the mind. And so as soon as one hears, today for lunch there is gulab jamun, what happens? Immediately, so immediately the mind, previous experience, oh, gulab jamun, very nice. So then the mind says, I want it, I want it, I want it. So it's all there in the mind. So why do you say it's in the mind? It's a reality, isn't it? It's a reality, right? The gulab jamun is sweet, correct? It's a reality. Then why it's a mental concoction?
No more taste sweet. In that particular condition, his mind feels that it is
good. Yes, that's a good point. So, okay, anybody else wants to add something? Praveen? Yes, so why it's relative? That's what we're trying to understand. Any other point?
We cannot enjoy as much as we want. That is also.
Well, that's another thing.
Same gulab jamun, if we are thinking after 2, 3, 4, 5, then it's of no use. It will become misery for us.
Right.
So same gulab jamun, but misery now. So.
Yes. Okay, 10, 12. After why, what happened? It is still sweet. Why the mind is now saying no? That's one thing. Another thing is well-known example. So you have the plate with your most favorite items, and the mind is just hankering to eat. And just at that point, somebody comes and chastises you like anything. Or you hear some bad news, somebody passed away, something. What happens? You give it to him, Baba. So that's correct. So why? Because it's all based on the mind. It's not absolute. It's not absolute. So the sweetness of the gulab jamun is same, but it is sense gratification for me only in certain conditions. The gulab jamun is reality, the sweetness of the gulab jamun is reality, but my enjoyment of the gulab jamun is relative, is subjected to mental concoctions and mental conditions. So therefore, as Prahlad Maharaj says, the whole concept of sense gratification is manasijam. It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. So anyway, that's another topic for discussion. But okay. So therefore, now what is the main symptom of this Sthita Prajna? He has given up all this. He has given up this prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani evatmana tushtaha. So Prabhupada translates atmana as by the purified mind. So because the mind is purified by the practice of devotional service, and atmani is situated in the pure state of the soul, therefore he is tushtaha. Therefore, he is satisfied. He is satisfied. Whatever comes of his own account, he is satisfied. So that is the main symptom of the sthita prajna. So he's not hankering. Ye chahiye, wo chahiye, ye chahiye, wo chahiye. No. So he's not hankering. Whatever comes, take it. So that's the main symptom of the sthita prajna. Okay. Now, next. Bolo.
Satisfaction in the self alone.
So you see the word to word what Prabhupada writes.
If like Atmani Prabhupada translates as in the pure state of the soul.
Yes. And Atmana by the purified minds. So the mind is purified, and because the mind is purified by Krishna consciousness, so therefore the soul is satisfied. So because of purification, there is satisfaction. The more one is purified, the more one becomes satisfied, because the mind is purified of what? Sense desires. Desires for sense gratification. That's what the mind is purified of. And one is purified, one is satisfied. Okay. Okay, read this Prabhupada's lecture. 55, 56.
So the Lord says that Kaman Sarva Partham Manogatan, the mental speculation. So long we are on the platform of mental speculation, we should understand that we are on the material plane, because mind is material, mind is not spiritual. So Manogatan, the special word is used here, Manogatan. Whatever we create in our mind, that is material, all creations. Mind is the leader of the senses, so the activities of the mind, thinking, feeling, and willing, are expressed through our senses, and these sensual activities are known as our living conditions. Therefore, the Lord says, when one shall be free from mental speculation, then he is to be understood that he is in the perfect stage of spiritual consciousness. Mental speculation. So by mental speculation, we cannot understand what is our position. Generally, people, they indulge in mental speculation, different philosophy of the world. They are established on the principle of mental speculations. Mental platform cannot give us the actual freedom or happiness. Therefore, the Lord says, one should give up all mental speculation and should be satisfied in the understanding that I am consciousness and there is supreme consciousness and I am subordinate to the supreme consciousness. Therefore, let me dovetail my consciousness with the supreme consciousness.
Okay, I think so that's pretty clear. Okay, let's go to the next one. So the next two verses are answers to which question? Yes, speech. That means how he responds to dualities. 56. Dukkeshu anudvignamana sukkeshu vigata spriha vitaraga bhaya krodha stitadir muniruchyate. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries are related when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger is called a sage of steady mind. Purport.
The word muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. It is said that every muni has a different angle of vision, and unless a muni differs from other muni, he cannot be called a muni. in the strict sense of the term. Nasau risi yasya matam na buddhi na bhinnam. But a sthita dhira muni, as mentioned here by the Lord, is different from the other from an ordinary muni. The sthita dhira muni is always in Krishna consciousness, for he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. He is called a prasanta
Nishesha
nishesha
mano
mano rathantara, or one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculation and has come to the conclusion that the Lord Sri Krishna or Vasudev is everything. Vasudeva Sarvam iti, Vasudeva Sarvam Visa Mahatma Sudurlabha. He is called a Muni, fixed in mind. Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaught of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more troubles due to his past misdeeds, and he sees that his miseries, by the grace of the Lord, are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives a credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. He realizes that it is due to only the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. And for the service of the Lord, he is always daring and active and is not influenced by the attachments or aversion. Attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment, because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry even when his attempts are unsuccessful. Success or no success, a Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination.
Okay, so this is how the Siddhadir Muni or the Siddha Prajna responds to dualities. So when there is suffering, what does he think? I deserve more suffering. Now Krishna is only given token punishment. So that is his understanding. We're discussing in the morning also. Tatenu kampam susamekshaman. So that is the realization of the Sthiti Muni. And so therefore he is not disturbed. He is not disturbed by the various miseries or the dualities. He's not disturbed. He thinks, actually, I should have suffered much more. So this is how, this should be the consciousness. This should be the consciousness, because that is reality. That is reality. It's not just our adjustment of the mind. It's not just a mental adjustment. It's a reality that Krishna is giving only token punishments. Otherwise, we deserve so much more. And so when one is in that consciousness, then one doesn't get too disturbed. We were saying in a previous class, no, Vaishnava is one who expects suffering at every moment. Padam padam yadivipadam. That's the nature of the material world. At every moment, potentially there is danger. So if there is no danger, what should one think? One should thank the Lord. This moment, there is no danger. Fortunately, roof didn't fall. So one must thank the Lord. So if one is in this consciousness, one will be grateful for everything. So whatever one gets, one will be grateful. So therefore, even when the bombs were falling in Calcutta, Srila Prabhupada was not disturbed. So that was Second World War, and so most of the people had actually left Calcutta. But somehow Prabhupada's wife was very stubborn. She said, I will not leave this place. So what to do? So Prabhupada had to stay. But then still, he was not disturbed. He was peacefully cooking kachoris, puris, whatever for his deities. And he thought, if Krishna wants, Krishna will come in the form of the bomb. What difference does it make? So that's devotee. So therefore, he is not too disturbed by any of these dualities. And similarly, when he's happy, he does not become over-related. So usually what happens when one gets what one wants, what one thinks? I have done it. I have done it. All because of me. I worked hard. I did this. I did that. But what devotee thinks? Actually, I don't deserve. I don't deserve. But somehow Krishna is making all conditions nice, peaceful. We're all sitting here hearing Bhagavad Gita. Prasadam is there. Association of devotees is there. Deities are there. What's the difficulty? Any difficulty? So one should be grateful for this nice situation that we're all enjoying. Outside, you go and see how people are working. So that's what a devotee feels. He feels grateful. And so therefore, one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. So success or no success, Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. So because he's not affected by these dualities. So when one is affected by the dualities, success, very happy. I'll continue the service. Oh, very nice, very nice. Tomorrow, no success, forget it. So this is what happens when one is affected by the dualities. But when one is not affected, success, no success, happiness, distress, cold, heat, whatever it is, one goes on. 57. Sarvatra nabhisnehas tat prapya shubha shubham nabhinandati na dveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. In the material world, one is affected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. Purport. हो गया ना आपका वहां दे दो हाँ पढ़ो पढ़ो
There is always some upheaval in the material world, which may be good or evil. One who is not agitated by such material upheavals, who is unaffected by good and evil, is to be understood to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one is in the material world, there is always the possibility of good and evil, because this world is full of duality. But one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness is not affected by good and evil, because he is simply concerned with Krishna, who is all good absolute. Such consciousness in Krishna situates one in a perfect transcendental position called technically samadhi.
Okay, so that's quite similar verse. So that's the answer to the second question. Now coming to the answer to the third question, how does he sit? Yada samharate chayam kurmo anga nivasarvashah indriya nindriyartebhyas tasya prajna pratishtitha. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as a tortoise draws its limbs when the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Purport.
The test of a yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by the dictation of the senses. That is the answer to the question as to how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. The yogi or a devotee must be very strong to control the serpents like a snake charmer. He never allow them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scriptures. Some of them are do nots, don'ts, and some of the do's. Unless one is able to follow the do's and the don'ts, restricting oneself from the sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. The best example set herein is the tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment wind up its senses and exhibit them again at any time for the particular purpose. Similarly, the senses of the Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn or withdraw otherwise. Arjuna is being taught here to use his senses for the service of the Lord instead of for his own satisfaction. Keeping the senses always in the service of Lord is the example set by analogy of the tortoise who keeps the senses within.
Okay. So you open your handbook. What are the OBA questions for this first unit? माइक ले लो, पढ़ो.
Explain in your words the process of sense control by Krishna consciousness with reference to verse, purports, cited analogies, and examples from Bhagavad Gita 2.54 to 68. How is this relevant for
What, say that again? 50?
54 to 68?
Sure, it was 58, I think. Okay, take it. Huh.
Arjuna's situation on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. B. Your own practice of Krishna consciousness, personal application.
Right. Okay, so now we are going to tell you how to write an OBA because it is based on this section. So everyone has got practice of writing some essays in school and some college, right? Okay, so how do you write? Tell some points. How do you write an essay? Nibandh.
We give a introduction, and then there is a body which describes the whole situation, and at the end we give a logical conclusion to it.
Okay, good. So that's a broad pattern of how we write. So an introduction where we are introducing the topic. Okay, so introduction is basically introducing the topic. What is the topic, the subject matter of the essay? That is the introduction. Then comes the main body, and then finally conclusion is what has already been written, summarizing all that has been said. So now in the main body of the essay, so here what is the main question? What is the main question? What is the subject matter?
The process of self-control.
Yes, the process of sense control. That is the main topic for the essay. Process of sense control. Now, process of sense control may be given in other parts of Bhagavad Gita also. It may be there in Bhagavatam also. It may be there in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. But you are supposed to write from what? Second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verses 54 to some 68 or whatever. So you have to limit your writing to these verses. Okay? Now, so when you write the main body of the essay, ये थोड़ा ध्यानपूर्वक सुनो, नहीं तो वो खिचड़ी हो जाएगा. So when you write the main body of the essay, so it should not be simply like an ocean of words. हाँ, वो देखते ही वो करेक्ट करने वाला घबरा जाता है. अरे ये तो क्या है, आदि अंत मध्य क्या कहाँ पर है? So therefore, the main body of the answer should be divided into some subheadings. Subheadings. And better to write in points. Points, subheadings, underline the subheadings. The less trouble you give to the assessor, more marks you get. More trouble you give. अरे क्या लिखा है कुछ समझ में नहीं, छोड़ दो, कुछ तो दे दो, छोड़ दो इसको. So try to write systematically. What did they say?
No word limit is
there. Not in the question. You see in your handbook, see right in the beginning, there is something on open book assessment. Yes, 800 to 900 words. That is the word limit. So that is an approximation. Approximation. If you write 3 words more, no problem. The only purpose of giving the word limit is so that one does not write a book. And also so that one does not write 3 lines and finish it up. Eloquence is truth spoken concisely. रुको ना, हमारा होने तो पहले. So that is the purpose of the word limit. So you write points, subheadings, points. So write the whole thing systematically. And okay, now another important point is, what did they say with reference to what? Verses, purports, analogies, all that has to be included. So here you can see in this purport, how many analogies are there? Tortoise and snake. 2 analogies are there. So and more will come. So you have to write all these analogies which are there. So when you write analogy, the analogy should be complete. You understand? The analogy has 2 components. There's a material component and there's a spiritual component. So sometimes we find answers. So the tortoise, when there is some danger, withdraws the senses within the shell. Khatam. We're not interested in tortoise, Baba. We're interested in what? We are interested in how to control senses. That is the main point. Now, we are not writing essay on tortoise. So both the parts must be complete. Then only the analogy is complete. That is one thing. So whatever analogies, examples are there in these purports, they have to be written. Now the second thing is very important. Quotes. Quotes from the purports. You know what are quotes? Quotes means what? Yes, you're giving an example, correct. So important sentences from Prabhupada's purports written as it is, they're called quotes. Right? So you put it in inverted commas and as soon as you write a quote, there must be what? Reference. Otherwise, it may be my quote, born in the fertile brain of my intelligence. So therefore, as soon as quote, there must be a reference. Otherwise, quote without reference, no weightage. There's no meaning. Now, please listen to all this carefully. Of course, it's all there. So such as it is quotes can be to a maximum of 20% of the answer. As it is quotes can be maximum 20% of the answer. 80% of the answer has to be in your own words, अपने शब्दों में. समझ लगा? Otherwise, sometimes we have seen the all types of answers we have seen. So sometimes we receive answers, verse number 55. 5 lines of the purport, copy paste. Verse number 56. Another 5 lines, copy paste. Like that whole answer. Why? This is as it is parampara. So when we get answers like this, what we do? We give it back as it is. अपने पास रख लो. So the point is clear. 80% of the answer has to be in your own words. Only 20% quotes. And also, you write some other points in the essay, some important points, you can give references there also. Okay. For quotes, definitely you have to give references. But at other places also, some important points are that you can give references. So now, in this particular question, the main part of the question is what? Process of sense control. That is the main part. The other two are sub-questions. So it should not happen that the main question becomes sub-question, sub-question becomes main question. Don't do things ulta. Main question is process of sense control. That should be the main part of the answer, 80% of the answer. Then you have to go to sub-questions. Those are small parts. That part of the answer is small. Clear how you're supposed to write essay? And then some other points may be there you can read. But this is some main important things. Here's some question. Analogies also you should explain in your own words. No. Analogy should be explained in own words, not as it is. Yes. The meaning, of course, will be the same, but in your own words, not as it is. Huh? Yes. In this case, right. All right? Yes, for the whole answer. But in any case, as we said, it's not a very strong limitation. A little bit more or less. Okay, our time is up for today. So I think so we'll continue in the next class. So our next class is when? Monday. Same time, correct? So we'll complete the second chapter and then we'll proceed to the third chapter on Monday. Okay? So you also told everyone that class is up to Friday? Class is up to Friday, you said, no? So that everyone knows? Everyone has agreed? You asked them or you already asked them? So everyone is okay till class till Friday? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So if you want, tomorrow you can write this open book question if you want. What? How means? After each unit. After that, who the organizer will decide. I don't know that. Sometime should be given.